News, R. Kelly, now a felon. Good evening, everyone. It's 5 o'clock. I'm Bill Ritter.
And I'm Sade Better-in-Moi. After decades of suspicion and allegations, a jury finding the singer guilty of racketeering and sex trafficking.
That verdict coming at the end of a 6-week trial. Eyewitness News reporter NJ Burkett live at the federal courthouse in Brooklyn with the breaking news. NJ.
That's it, Bill. R&B superstar R. Kelly, once a national, global celebrity, convicted on every count in the indictment, racketeering and sex trafficking. He was found guilty on the first full day of deliberations. It was a quick verdict, which is always a bad sign for the defense. For the government and the victims, vindication for allegations that go back decades.
Today's guilty verdict forever brands R. Kelly as a predator who used his fame and fortune to prey on the young, the vulnerable, and the voiceless for his own sexual gratification.
Kelly was found guilty of all 9 counts in the indictment, racketeering and sex trafficking, specifically arranging sexual encounters with underage victims across state lines.
The jury delivered a powerful message to men like R. Kelly. No matter how long it takes, the long arm of the law will catch up with you.
I believe I can fly.
R. Kelly's career took flight in the 1990s, only to crash and burn in the years that followed. Prosecutors said the Grammy-winning R&B superstar used his fame and fortune to exploit the victims for his own sexual gratification, allegedly luring them into his world and keeping them there through fear and intimidation. Prosecutors claimed Kelly married the late Brooklyn-born R&B singer Aaliyah when she was 15, after providing her with a fake ID. Kelly did not testify in his own defense, instead allowing his lawyers to portray him as the victim of groupies, stalkers, and gold diggers. His attorneys accused the government of a rush to judgment and accused the media of running wild. They promised to appeal.
Of course, Mr. Kelly is disappointed. He was not anticipating this verdict because, based on the evidence, why should he anticipate this verdict?
Attorney Gloria Allred represented 3 of the victims.
I have been practicing law for 47 years. During this time, I have pursued many sexual predators who have committed crimes against women and children. Of all the predators that I have pursued, however, Mr. Kelly is the worst.
Well, Kelly was found to be a flight risk and has been ordered held without bail since 2019. He is 54 years old and could face up to life in prison at his sentencing, which is scheduled for May of next year. We're live at U.S. District Court.
Good evening, good evening. Welcome to a new edition of Real World News TV. I'm one of your co-hosts, Reggie Kearney, and with me tonight is our producer, Tony Breelove, sitting in for Sharon Taffet, who's traveling around the world somewhere. You know, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. So,
right?
Yeah. So, Sharon, if you up at this time, hi, how you doing? Oh, well, we got a show tonight talking about R. Kelly.
Oh, dear Lord, a predator.
Yeah.
A predator.
And, you know, think about it. The dude put out some songs, okay? He put out some music. I mean, everybody loved his music. You know, but hey, it was a dark side to him.
You know what? I think it's about time.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, we have been hearing about all of the things that this person has been doing for how many years? We saw when the news broke that he had married Aaliyah. How many years ago was that? You know what I'm saying? And since then, it's just been ongoing, and one woman after another. And then, of course, you know, stuff would break in the news and he would be accused of things. But he got off.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was taking it serious, you know? And now here we are, after destroying the lives of so many young women. Here we are. So it was time.
Yeah.
It was definitely time.
I think, he got caught up in the Me Too movement, and I think that's what started rocking his boat. And the young ladies, the fear that they had, they let go of it.
Yeah.
They had to, and I think what really got him was those two young ladies who were staying with him, and I guess the infighting that was going on in the house. And I think that brought it up, because I remember looking at a documentary. I think, I don't know if it was ABC 2020 or NBC show, where the parents was trying to talk to one of the young girls to try to get her to come home, and she was like dissing them, and she really didn't want to have nothing to do with them. That R. Kelly was taking care of her and everything. She was underage then herself.
Yeah.
So I think that's what broke the camel's back. The straw that broke the camel's back was when those two young ladies started fighting, and the police had to come to the house.
Yeah. And you know what? But I don't understand why it took so long. That's always been the source of my contention with this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why it took so long.
Well,
I don't understand, because if these young women had the father that I had, there would have been nothing that would have stopped him from coming into that house where I was staying and getting me.
Yanked you out of there.
Yeah, no matter what the consequences to him would be.
Uh-huh.
And that's what I think most fathers would say.
Yeah.
That you could not stop me from getting my child away from this predator, when the characteristics of them had been so much different.
Mm-hmm. I would have killed him. I would kill him. Then got my daughter. I'm serious, because he did some devilish stuff. Okay, for someone that claimed they couldn't read or write, he sure knew one thing he loved to do was sex.
But you know what? Reading and writing, okay, I get it. He had people to help him with that, but he also had people helping him in this sexual venture that he had with these young girls.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just surprised that more of that side of the story has not been addressed. That's the part I'm surprised on too.
That's the downfall of the whole thing. The predators, the enablers, are going to get away because there were so many of them. He can't even name them all. He's at a concert and hands a note to a person and say, "You see that girl sitting out there? Go get her." Exactly. Or the next time it might be another person, or another person, another person. So you can't. It's hard to really gather the enablers together and go after them.
I don't see why not. I don't know why that would be so hard. Start at the top. Start at the very beginning.
It's their word against the court's word. Okay? That's just the bottom line of when it comes to the enablers. Now, if it had been one person that he always depended on, it'd be easier. But he was probably handing notes even to women. Go get that girl,
Well, okay, so I'm glad you said that, because if you watched the documentary, there was a young woman in there. She was older than all of the rest of them, and she basically played, she played the part as the friend of R. Kelly. He was helping her with her career, and I can't remember her name. Hey, Yolanda, you know what? I agree. My parents too. But she was instrumental in having some of these girls there too. But see, the way she twists her story made it seem as if this is the one that the 12-year-old girl, that was her niece. Do you remember that?
No, I don't. I don't remember that.
Okay, so the youngest that he had pursued, and there was a tape made, which was floating around social media just a couple of years back. That was filmed with a 12-year-old girl, and he peed all over her.
Okay, I remember that one, yeah.
Okay, so one of the folks that he was helping with their career, one of the women, older woman, I almost called her name. That was her niece, and she recognized her niece So why was it so hard to turn this information in then? I can understand she went to the girl's parents, which was her brother or sister, I can't remember. She went to the parents, and the parents said, we don't want our daughter in the media. Okay, well, keep her out of the media because she is 12 years old. She's a minor. So they can't print anything about who she is. They can only name her victim 1 or victim 2, something like that, and her age. Why not take this to the police? If you know a crime is being committed against a child.
For the love of money, people will sell their souls, okay?
Yeah, but those parents even said later on that they were not taking any money from him. But I do believe that after I read on and on, they had accepted a settlement.
Yeah.
Some sort of
at
money.
One time, they might not have taken money in the beginning, but at one time, he was able to persuade them to take money. And go back and look at Aaliyah's case. I was looking at a couple weeks ago. Yeah, probably a couple weeks ago. At the beginning of the new television season, Dr. Oz had Aaliyah's uncle on. And he was her manager and producer and all that kind of stuff. You know, him and the mother, her mother, their brothers and sisters haven't spoken since Aaliyah died. Or before, because he said he never wanted her to do business with R. Kelly.
Right.
Because he felt something was wrong.
Right.
But the mother kept pursuing it. And it was all about money. That's all it was. You know, it wasn't so much the fake ID, because like he said, the mother knew what was going on.
You know, these some trifling ass people. I hate to cuss on your show, but I am. So they are the most trifling folks. Because I'm not going to say that I would expect a dad to push her out there. I wouldn't say that. But I couldn't expect a mother. That's just, you know, that child came from you. I couldn't expect a mother to push their child out there and exploit them in that manner.
Yeah. Because he said that he was against R. Kelly managing Aaliyah's career. And he said next thing he knew, hey, he had signed her. And he said it was all the mother. And the mother didn't even tell him that she had signed with R. Kelly after he had voiced his opinion. Because he knew, even back there then, he knew something was wrong with him. And he just didn't trust him. It's just his intuition.
But I think that over time, I couldn't understand why these people, his handlers, I couldn't understand why these people did not see an increase of his predatory persona. I couldn't understand how they didn't see that his proclivities had gotten so much more sicker. Because you got to remember that at first it was like the girls that were Aaliyah's age. Okay. 15, 16, 17. He never had an 18-year-old that I knew of. But then you delve all the way back from, like, let's say 17-year-old girls to a 12-year-old or 11-year-old girl. That's some sick shit. And nobody realized this.
But if you are a parent that's broke and you suffering, you don't have the money, and this fool comes along and offers you money and promises you he's gonna take care of your daughter and give her a great singing career, and you know you trust him. It's R. Kelly, and he likes my daughter, and he wants to make her a superstar, and he just throws a stack of money on the table. You go for it, okay? You got people out there that didn't even look. They looked the other way, took the money, sent the girl off, and R. Kelly had rules that girls couldn't use the phone. They couldn't do nothing without his permission.
That's some sick stuff.
Yeah, so what happens, he ends up, what he did, he ended up breaking the communication line between parent and child.
Right. And that's why I don't understand why, with the exception of two families, two sets of parents. Why weren't there more parents knocking down the door?
Money.
It was only these two.
Money, honey.
Ugh. Oh, that's so sick.
You know, they talked to Clary, and she was talking about, she said when she initially met him, I would meet him in whatever I wanted to wear, whether it be jeans, whether that be, a blouse, whatever Clara told the king. But eventually all that changed, and Kelly began dictating what she could wear and much more. Okay, so, it was that gradual control thing,
Conditioning.
Yeah, conditioning and everything, She said one time, and she testified to this, that the singer beat her with a sneaker until she admitted she had texted a friend about their relationship. Control. She also told the court that witnessed the singer slapping and dragging other women by the hair if they broke the rules he set out for them.
Hi,
So
Mommy.
he had. See, your mother agrees with me. Thank you, Mommy.
Whatever.
So what happened was he had started exerting control of all these women. He had a house full of women, and he had control over all of them. But this is the problem. He had no men in the house. And when I say that, there were men in the house, but they weren't men. Okay? They allowed, and they saw this stuff going on. But again, it was about money, about getting the big payoff from him. So they were willing to turn their head and look the other way.
I'm telling you, there would be no way, and mommy could agree with me on this, that my dad ain't no way in the world. He went after teenagers when I went on a date and I wasn't home on time. So no, ain't no way in the world.
Yeah.
No, and that's where I'm stuck. That is where I'm stuck. I'm stuck on the fact that these parents, there were only two parents, two sets of parents who had went after him, trying to get their daughters. But the sick part, Mom said, "Oh Lord, yeah, Daddy, R. Kelly could have hung it up. Okay, he would have been he'd been in pieces with my dad." So. But what I'm not understanding also with all of his weirdness is that the two girls that he had in that hotel room, when he was doing some kind of taping or they agreed to tape or whatever, they were doing the documentary or whatever. One of those girls was really frilly. She was all fixed up and she, had her makeup and all. The other one looked like a boy. And that's the way he wanted to keep her, looking like a boy. So it led me to ask the question, when was he going to jump the fence and start messing around with little boys?
Well, he did. He messed around with one. He met one at McDonald's.
12-year-old boy.
Yeah. So he did have, it was one boy involved in the whole situation.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So he was. He testified.
See, I didn't see the witness list. You have the witness list?
Yeah, he testified.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He's a sick person and he needs to be locked up. He needs to be locked up.
Oh, well, his age, if he get 10 years, that's going to be almost a lifetime.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to get life.
Yeah, he's going to get life. I'm just, I was surprised that they would wait until May of 2020 for sentencing.
Good look. Okay. Computer wants to run.
Wow. Yolanda said she heard that there were 3 boys.
Yeah, here it is. R. Kelly sexually abused underage Chicago boys. New court documents claim. Federal prosecutors in R. Kelly's sex trafficking case said he had sexual contact with an underage boy in addition to girls and the government wants jurors in his upcoming sex trafficking trial to hear these claims. Goes on. Among them, the government says was a 17-year-old boy, an aspiring musician who Kelly met at McDonald's in December 2006, and Atlanta invited him to his Chicago studio. After asking the boy what he would do to make it in music business, Kelly propositioned and had sexual contact with him while he was still underage, according to court filings.
Oh my God. Mm-hmm. So there had to have been that reason of keeping that little girl looking like a boy.
Yeah. And so the boy introduced Kelly to his to a 16 or 17-year-old male friend with whom prosecutors say the singer began a sexual relationship 7 years later. Kelly also filmed the two youths in sexual encounters with other people, including some of Kelly's girlfriends, according to the filing. Now, he had a thing for filming. He loved filming. He probably wore his iPhone out trying to film all the time.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. I didn't. I just didn't know that.
Yeah.
And oh God.
The problem I have with this whole thing is that anytime there are cases involving blacks, celebrities, or whatever you want to call it, it divides the black community, because he does have his fans out there who believe he didn't do nothing. After all the evidence out there, after all the videos out there, they still don't believe him. Now, Uncle Bill decided to put his 2 cents worth in it the other day. Now, Uncle Bill got off on a technicality, okay?
Right.
He got off on double jeopardy because, like the judge, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court said, you know, he was promised not to be prosecuted, and he was. So they sided with him on that, and that's the only reason Uncle Bill got out of jail. Okay? Uncle Bill would have done them 3 years, and he was almost finished doing 3 years anyway, so he was going to probably get out. You know, so Uncle Bill is sad and saying that he's been railroaded, okay? Now, Uncle Bill needs to go sit down in the corner somewhere. Okay?
How can you railroad someone when there's, just piles of evidence?
It's another black man being railroaded. That's Uncle Bill.
But Uncle Bill even confessed to some of his craziness.
If I saw Uncle Bill now, I would go to jail for elderly abuse.
Would you beat him down?
I'll beat Uncle Bill down. I'll beat him down with a container of pudding.
Uncle Bill's blind now, pretty much.
I'll beat him down with some pudding and some jello, okay? Because he is wrong.
Oh my God. He wouldn't see you coming, so that would be unfair.
And that's okay. He gonna feel it.
Oh my God.
Because look at what he did, okay?
That was sick too. He admitted to it.
Yeah. Now, Uncle Bill, he teed off a whole lot of white folks in TV land, okay? If he had kept his butt quiet and not tried to buy NBC, he might have got away with it. But when he started acting like he was Mr. Almighty, the richest black man in the world, he got him, okay? And Uncle Bill going around telling boys to pull the pants up and, tie the drawers up and all that kind of stuff. And he out there just out there in his younger days, he would turn up them women.
So Yolanda says those were the words of his publicist. He admitted they were not Cosby's words.
I can look. Yolanda, I believe it was Cosby, okay? They're trying to clean it up. Me Too got on it. Me Too movement knocked on the door.
Yeah.
Probably what happened was a lot of people got upset at Bill and called him up and said, Bill, you need to stay out of this.
He really, yeah. But you know what's funny is I was like looking stuff up right before we came on air. Mm-hmm. And then I ran across this, I don't know if it's a reputable site or not, but it was two that said that now he's going to start like spilling the beans on other celebrities.
Who?
R. Kelly.
Oh, shit. R. Kelly can't even spell his own name. How you going to spill some beans?
Don't write him off now. He had some sick ways. And he was smart enough to keep this game going with the help
of other people.
Okay, with the help of other people. So who says that he couldn't be smart enough, or his people couldn't be smart enough to start naming names? I mean, he had like a house full of women.
Yeah. Well, look, but like this young lady said, and mommy, thank you again for agreeing with me. Like this young lady said, like this young lady said, for 5 years, she could not go on social media. She could not talk to another man unless it was R. Kelly.
But then, okay, so I mean, I feel horrible for these women, but even as a young teenager, teenagers know how to take flight. They run away all the time.
How you gonna run away when the doors are locked from the inside?
I just, there's gotta be, I would have been jumping out a window or something. You can't tell me that at some point you did not try and take flight in your fear.
I'm your bodyguard, and you paying me $200,000-$300,000 a year to protect you. What?
Kill me.
My head gonna be the other way, and that's what them guys are doing. They were turning their heads the other way. Like I said, if the last two young ladies hadn't got fighting and about ready to kill each other, and the police hadn't come, R. Kelly still be doing it.
I agree.
It was the only reason that this thing got broke down was because them two young girls. Well, first of all, it was the documentary. They got things started. It was the parents who kept pushing to talk to the girls and making a fuss. It got on TV. Then after that, I guess R. Kelly got mad because the girls said something on TV. And then the girls got to fighting because one girl probably thought they were going to lose the house and he was throw them out in the street and stuff. That's the only reason this stuff came to the forefront. Because if it hadn't been for those two girls, R. Kelly probably had your grandmama been there now. Oh, that's how he was.
Just sick.
Yeah.
That's just sick.
Yeah. Look how many years he did this. Like you said, how many years ago was it when Aaliyah died? How long has he been dead? Yeah. That's been 20-some years.
Yeah.
How many young ladies probably came before Aaliyah?
Yeah.
That probably didn't even come forth and even tell that story because they were too embarrassed.
But, excuse me, do you remember as part of that documentary when they interviewed his older brother? You remember that? And he was serving time. And he even said that he was impressed. He was over the moon pretty much. And I'm just paraphrasing that R. Kelly had all these girls. He never called them women. He said he has all these girls, and I was impressed with it, wishing I could do that.
He had no money.
And he knew that these were girls. He never once called any of them women and wished he could be just like his brother. You know, and the sad part, too, is that family members who shared in abuse from their sister, they had been abused too. They failed to reach out to get help. Failed. It was a sick, thank you, Yolanda, I was just about to say it. It was a sick family. And nobody tried to get any of them help. The sister is an abuser. That comes out. You know, we thought only abused R. Kelly. Come to find out she abused all three of the boys. That's sick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. I just don't get it how people stand by and not do anything.
Yeah, so how does, I don't know. I guess everybody is open to feel the way they want to feel, okay? because I can't see how people in our community, excuse me, are always trying to find a reason to find the person innocent when all the evidence has been thrown out on the table.
Well, you had that one girl who was one of her huge followers. I think she was the president of his fan club or something.
Mm-hmm.
Even after this is when the U2 movement started.
Mm-hmm.
And they were boycotting or protesting against R. Kelly having his concerts because they wanted to shut his money down.
Mm-hmm.
There was one girl who was head of his fan club who was just over the moon with R. Kelly. She was out there protesting against the protesters. And then only to then later on get invited back to R. Kelly's house and then find out that all this stuff is true. And then she's trying to make a mad dash for it. But see, she got out early, but didn't tell the story. That's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem. So, I don't know. I truly don't know. But this one verdict is not the end because I believe he has to appear before 2 other courts.
Oh, yeah. He's going to be spending some time in jail.
Now, are those cases because he crossed state lines with minors? Because I couldn't find what those charges are. Because I know that he was flying some of them from Chicago to Los Angeles to, I think is it Minnesota or Minneapolis? I can't remember. But he was flying these girls across state lines and they were minors.
Yeah, they're probably going to get up for trafficking.
Trafficking.
Yeah, they also got him in this first case for trafficking. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and the way this case is shaping him up, I can't see him serving these sentences concurrent. It's going to be, you're going to finish one. If you live through one, you're going to go to take care of the next one.
What did Richard Pryor say a long time ago? He said, you're going to die and come back again.
That's right. Mm-hmm. He said, okay, wake up. We ain't burying you yet. You got to go to California. Wake up. You're going to serve this one there for a life. You know.
But you know what? But he deserves every one of those years. He deserves every last one of those years. And I'm not one to like dance on somebody's, parade of misfortune, but he deserves it. Mm-hmm. He deserves it for the lives that he's messed up.
One of the things you have to realize that this is part of the culture of the Black community. And I'm going to tell you why. Back in the day, the old Black man or older Black man always had an affinity for younger Black women. You always saw Uncle Joe at the picnic getting candy to the little girls.
Right.
Okay, so that kind of stuff has been going on for years, but the guys were never put in check, okay? Everybody thought it was cute when Uncle Johnny would say, come here, honey, give Uncle Johnny a hug and a kiss.
Mm-hmm.
He give him a little piece of candy. Uncle Johnny wanted that little girl.
That's
yeah, but that's been some of the mentality that's taking place in our community. And I'm pretty sure, like you said, R. Kelly was abused by his sister. I'm pretty sure he saw other men in the family doing things like this. And in his little peanut brain, he probably thought it was all right to do. Okay.
But he thought it was okay because that's what he experienced.
Yeah, he saw it.
Because he was a child.
Yeah.
I think he was 8 or 9. Mm-hmm. And that went on until he was in junior high school up to the age of 13.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And only to find out that what was going on was bad is when he started talking to one of his other brothers. Mm-hmm. And then that brother revealed that it was happening to him too.
Yeah.
And had been happening.
He's not getting down on all these brothers. I don't know if all these brothers have issues or anything, but you look at Lionel Richie. His wife he married was what, 31, 32 years old. He's 70 some years old.
Exactly.
What
in
hell,
the world?
He gonna do with her?
What in the world is really going on?
Well, yeah, Viagra gonna kill him. Trying to keep up with her. He gonna have to pop a blue pill every night.
But then I gotta think, what the hell does this woman want with this old geezer? Oh, money. It's not worth it. I could not. I could not. I could not. At 60, I could not.
You're not a cougar, Tony?
No.
Oh boy, look at Mom laughing out loud.
Mom is just laughing. Oh my God.
But so you wonder even about Lionel Richie. Why did he want to go out and marry? Okay, I can see 50 years old, okay?
Yeah.
I can see 50. But 30 something? 31, 32?
They have nothing in common except for his money. He has it, she wants it.
Except for that Vicks vapor rub that she got rubbed on the shoulders and rubbed the knees and stuff.
I was just talking to Mom about Vicks.
Yeah, so I think there is, in the Black community, men do have a lust for younger women, you know. And as long as they're over 18, then they pray. You know, they're good to go. You know, and so, you know, when the thing about, you know, when the age of the cougar came along, you know, so many people fussing about older women going after younger guys, you know, that, you know, why they going after their sons and all that kind of stuff. But then it's a flip side to it too. The men going after the younger women too. You know, Bob Johnson, you know, the BET, formerly of BET, he did the same thing. His wife was in her 30s.
See,
you know, look what Rose said. Right. I listen to Oldie but Goodies and she listened to Go-Go. Oh, boy.
Oh, my God.
I mean, I'm not trying to make light of the R. Kelly situation, but we just have so many different situations going on in the Black community that lead to this kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah. And unfortunately, it doesn't get healed.
Yeah.
It does not get healed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just I want to see, well, I know what the outcome is going to be. He's going to get time on these other 2 cases.
Yeah.
But I would like to see some of these same women, because the only women that we basically hear from on the effects of this and how they've had to deal with this are the ones that Gloria Aldred had represented. You don't hear from these other women who were slaves in the house. There are more, except for the 2 or 3 she represented. I want to hear from them, you know?
Yeah, it's a lot of women out here, and a lot of them not going to come forth, okay? Because they're embarrassed, and you know they don't want people making them feel any worse than what they already are. So it's a lot of women that never going to come through and will come forward. I mean, that's even in the Me Too movement. That's a lot of women out here who have had situations that happen with other men where the men have been predators and they just have left it alone. They've gone on with their lives and try to put it behind them.
Yeah, but I think that's where it becomes really, really important that as parents to these young girls and even little boys, that you talk to them about what's acceptable and what's not. You talk to them about who could be a predator, who could be the one that's trying to condition you and steer you away from them. You have to talk to your kids. So in a lot of ways, even when I was watching that documentary, I was thinking to myself, what is it that was missing from that conversation, if there was a conversation between the parents and these girls? There had to be something missing that that would tell them You don't have to be so desperate if you want to do your music. You don't have to put out. You don't have to be on the studio couch to get your music. Just work on your craft and know that you are who you are and you're the best of who you are. But I don't think, it's just weird how a man with fame and any other man could talk a young girl into giving up a relationship with their parents, giving up checking in with your parents. Hell, you're under 18. You should be calling home.
Well, what if the house don't have no phones? What if the only phone in the house was probably his cell phone?
That Negro had phones.
A cell phone, he can read the numbers on.
It don't matter.
You know, but
what I'm saying, if he wasn't doing anything wrong, he would not have a problem with those girls calling their parents.
Well, he knew what he was doing was wrong.
Of course he knew what he was doing.
He had the control.
But again, the parents are not talking to their children.
But like one
we
girl
live in a sick world.
The one girl said she couldn't talk to nobody for 5 years other than R. Kelly.
Then she should have known something was wrong.
But
when they were out, but they had to have left the house. They left the house.
Yeah.
According to them, you got to be bold in some of the things. But she had to have known that this was not right.
Mentally, he had conditioned her. He made a zombie out of her.
Again, a lot of that stuff starts at home.
But the thing is, the conditioning of the mind, was controlling their mind.
I mean, I get it. I understand it. And I respect that folks are saying, and they keep saying that, but he conditioned them.
Yeah.
If there was a strong, if there was a strong bond, and you trust your parents, and your parents give you the right information and tell you that you are worthy of respect, you are worth everything in gold, then I'm just not understanding, because I had that. I had that.
But sometimes, even if you have that, if all you're looking for is fame, and this knucklehead R. Kelly comes along and say, look, I can make you the next Diana Ross, you're going to buy into it. You're going to feed into it. And that's what she did. Like this young lady who interviewed with Gayle King said, she still, even today, has problems with her parents adjusting to them and realizing she is free. The dude brainwashed him. It was control.
I just think that a lot of parents are not speaking to their kids and providing them with information on how to come home safely. I don't think that a lot of parents are talking to their young girls, making sure that they feel validated, so that, you know, when some joker comes along with money or no money, that they don't fall for that okie doke. That's just the way I feel, because that's what my folks did for me. And it would be no way that an R. Kelly would come along and say, here, let me help you with your music, you know, or tell me I'm pretty and I fall for that shit. Well, hell, my mama said I was pretty. My daddy tells me I'm pretty.
They tell you that because they love you. You might be the ugliest thing in the world. But then R. Kelly telling them pretty and you ugly is a different pretty, okay? And they fall for it.
But I could be the ugliest thing in the world, but you can't tell me that, because my mom and daddy said otherwise.
Yeah, but R. Kelly you looked at yourself in the mirror every morning and saw you was ugly. But then R. Kelly comes along and really emphasizes the fact that you are pretty. So then what do? You fall for R. Kelly's pretty. Then he take you to McDonald's and buy you a Big Mac meal.
And
and
that's when I
teasing.
say, get lost, jailbird, because you're going to jail.
But they didn't say it that way. Okay, you got to look at it. When R. Kelly was at the top of his game, all he was doing was putting out hits. So the girls already knew the dude was doing well in the music business. So if anybody was going to take him to the next level to be a superstar, then he was going to be the one.
Okay, so let me tell you guys a story, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is why I just don't understand it. Mm-hmm. Because when I was I was coming out of high school and in my early 20s, music was my thing. Mm-hmm. I sang, recorded, did all of that, been in studios, all of that. Okay. Mm-hmm. I knew I could sing. There were times where I would get into a studio and be nothing but a bunch of guys. Mm-hmm. And it would be late. And I would start yawning and I'd get tired and all of this. And they said, well, you know, we could put you on this, that, and the other and put you on an album here. So-and-so want to get with you. If you had known how many times I got my big butt out of there and walked away. Mm-hmm. I walked away. Because there was nothing that, and I've been around folks who have been successful in the music industry. I know all about it. Been around them. But there was nothing that they could tell me that would compromise who I am, who my folks raised me to be. That's why I'm so like a dog with a bone. I can't let this go. Mm-hmm. Our women do not talk to our young girls. They don't. They're not telling them the right things. They don't have that hard conversation. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you got to get down in the dirt and get dirty and say the words that they're going to hear on the streets. That's what my folks did. And I'm more wiser for it. So when I was in my early 20s, late teens, I didn't fall for that okie doke. No. I would actually tell people, I'm going to tell my daddy. Serious. Because he was crazy as hell. Still is. But I say it, and I can't let that go. It has to do with the upbringing. You know, everything is not about money. You know, your safety.
But when you haven't had any money and you broke as a dog, money means a lot. And for some of those mothers, they saw it as an opportunity for their daughters. He probably gave them some money also. And they probably were happy to say, my daughter singing with R. Kelly. He's looking out for my daughter. Yeah, he was looking out for her, all right.
Yeah, and that person she's telling, looking at her sideways, saying, damn, predator.
Mm-hmm. But how do we get, before we close out, how do we get folks in the Black community to see that this guy is a predator and not always blame the media or blame racism for him being in the position that he's in? And that's the problem I have, because we act like white folks put him in jail. He put his own self in jail.
No, he chose to be there with his actions.
Yeah.
That was his choice.
Yeah. So how do we get the Black community to be on the side of right and not always splitting up and being on the side of wrong?
I think we have to look at the value of our children. Mm-hmm. Put your children in the position that those girls were in. Put your children in their place and think about how that's going to affect their life. Mm-hmm. What it's going to do to their psyche. You know, what does it do to your family? Mm-hmm. Sometimes we have to readjust our thought process and look at things as if we were in it. That's how. He's a mere man. We can't glorify a man of any stature because then that's when you start making excuses for his misdeeds and his walking wrong in life. And it's done every day. It's done in churches. It's done in politics. It's done in the entertainment industry as we see it now. We keep putting people above on a pedestal, thinking that, oh, well, just because they're a star, that they don't have proclivities, they don't have illnesses going on inside of them. No, we need to focus on making sure that we put ourselves, our families on that pedestal. That's the way we do it. We need to start treating ourselves right, start treating our families in the correct way. That's the way I would see it. Somebody else might have a different idea, but it starts with us.
Well, they're saying that this case has given new fire to the Me Too movement, because at one time the Me Too movement was seeming like only people coming out were white guys were getting arrested. Then you've had two blacks, Bill Cosby and R. Kelly, having to go to court and be found guilty. So it's showing that this is not a black thing or a white thing. This is just a human thing.
It is a human thing.
It can happen to anyone.
Because you got to think about how often this does happen.
Oh, shoot.
That it's not reported. And the reason a lot of times it's not reported or that we don't see it in the media is because we have privacy laws, we have HIPAA laws, and it doesn't allow for certain things to become public. So the moment that someone reports that kind of crime, it's automatically like kind of hush-hushed.
Yeah.
Well,
a lot of you'll never know. And look at Derek saying, I'm just curious if y'all still going to step in the name of love.
You do it.
But you know something?
In the name of love.
You remember the one song he was talking about coming out of the closet?
Yeah.
And then we know why.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Night, Mommy. Glad you enjoyed it. Exactly.
Yeah, so we know why. He was singing about his feelings and his urges and stuff.
You know what? It was a lot of things that he wrote and he sung about that we just didn't pay attention.
Yeah. And it could have been a time in his songs that he was crying out for help. We just didn't figure it out. And then we listen to a song now, and then we know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's strange how we just didn't pay attention. Or we paid attention and then brushed over it.
Yeah.
Swept it under the rug. Because I think we're all guilty of that. There should have been this huge outcry the moment that we all heard that him marrying Aaliyah was true. It should have been a huge outcry. If not by her parents and her family, then by the public.
But like the uncle said, the mother was pulling, she pushed him aside and she started pulling the strings.
Yeah.
And it was just all about the money and about who he was, R. Kelly. So, I mean, maybe in the mother's mind, she thought he wasn't going to do anything terrible to her.
I don't know, but I hope that there is not a next time.
There's always going to be a next time, because it's somebody out there right now doing the same thing, and people, and the person who's involved or the people involved aren't going to tell, but it's scared.
Yeah. It's going to happen the next time, and that's the sad part. That is the sad part. We've got 4 minutes. I guess we can start kind of closing it out. What you think?
Yeah.
I would just want to say thank you to everybody who is part of tonight's show and commenting. You're right, Rose. It doesn't stop with R. Kelly. It does not stop. That's the first time I've seen Rose on one of your shows.
She's been on the show before.
Has she?
It's been a while.
Oh well, then Rose, you see, he just busted you out.
It's been a long time. She's probably bored tonight. That's why she's watching the show.
No, it's because she really wanted to watch the show.
Mm-hmm.
So
To tell you something about Rose real quick, her husband has a band, and he does Luther songs, and really he looks just like Luther.
really,
Sounds just like Luther.
really,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
So Rose, you got to get him to come on the show one day. I want to hear Luther. I want to see Luther. So I'm actually trying to pull up the information for tomorrow night's show.
Yeah. Tell us the title again tomorrow night.
Huh?
Tell us the title of the show tomorrow night again.
Oh, geez. Okay. So hang on. So tomorrow night on Hot Topics Talk Radio with me and Yvonne Baker, we're going to be covering something that I don't know how Yvonne comes up with this stuff. I'm not going to ask. No, I am going to ask tomorrow night because she's been on vacation, and she comes up with this topic that kind of leaves me pause, right? So tomorrow night on Hot Topics with me and Yvonne, the show is surprise. You were part of a porno video.
It caught me off guard because when I saw it on my feed, I said somebody hacked into my messenger.
I know. So, oh my God.
And I was scared to do anything, to hit it or do anything. I said because I'm gonna mess up my phone and stuff. And then I thought about it. I said, "This is Yvonne.
Exactly.
This is just a title for tomorrow night
so
show."
I was sending her show topics, right? And she hadn't answered any of them. She hadn't really said, "Oh, okay, this one looks good," that kind of thing. So then all of a sudden she writes in, "Surprise, you were part of a porno." And I looked, I thought, what? And then I kind of like relaxed. I'm like, shh, that didn't happen to me. So,
are you sure?
Look, you got to get some
sure?
to get that. You got to get some to record it. So,
oh boy.
And immediately I knew that's not me. So then I realized, oh, it's a show topic. So yeah. So we're gonna have
I looked at it for a few minutes when I saw. I said, "Oh, somebody hacked into my Facebook page, my messenger." I said, and then I thought about it. I said, "Oh, this is the title for the show tomorrow night." It catches you off guard, so that should be a pretty good show tomorrow night.
Oh my gosh! So Rose says her husband is at rehearsal now for a show this weekend. We got to get him on the show. I want to see Luther.
Yeah, you want to see Luther?
I want to see.
He sounds good. He sounds just like him. He does a good.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Look, she said, "Okay, Reg, you can get Will on your show."
Yes, you can.
She the manager now. Okay. Oh boy.
Oh my goodness. So we are going to get out of here. Thank you for tuning in tonight to Real World News TV with me and Mr. Reggie Kearney. I thank him for allowing me to sit in for Chera tonight. She will be returning next week. She is just on vacation. So we do what we do. Smooththings.com. Okay, I'm going to look it up. Smooththings.com.
Yeah.
I'm going to look it up.
And Derek said part 2 of R. Kelly. Talking about, look, R. Kelly part 2, talking about Yvonne's title for tomorrow night.
See, that's just wrong. That's just wrong. So make sure, again, thank you for tuning in. But Sherry Ann will be back next week. You guys won't see me. I will be behind the scenes.
Hey, look.
The way
Derek,
I like
here goes Derek. I could have filled in. Okay, Derek, we'll remember you said that.
I know, right? Because then he's going to have everything in the book coming up. Oh, I got this to do. I got that to do. You know how it is.
Yeah.
So next time it'll be Derek filling in. I like to be behind the scenes.
The only thing I want to say in closing to the parents who are listening tonight, give your young children, adult, teenage children, the phone numbers that they need to keep with them. So they ever get in a situation, there are phone numbers they can call to get them out of this situation. Don't allow your kids to just fall into these situations and can't get out.
Yeah.
There's help out there. Okay, there are organizations that will help.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Thanks for that, Reggie. So make sure that you follow Real World News TV here on Facebook under Real World News TV, and you'll get show notifications of when the shows are coming on and what they're about. You can also send your show ideas, and make sure that you share the show with your friends and family and colleagues at work and all of that good stuff, because there's always some great information on Real World News. So make sure that you come back here next week on Tuesday night. Cherry on Tappin, Reggie Kearney bringing you some more information on today's headlines and politics. 7, what time is you guys come on at 5:30? 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 Central, 8:30 on the East Coast. Make sure that you do come on back tomorrow night with Hot Topics Talk Radio with me, Tony Breedlove, and Miss Yvonne Baker for, oh boy, an exciting show. Surprise! You're part of a porno video. So I'm going to leave it right there.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Always a pleasure. I'm trying to talk as I take your banners down. This is why I can't do the show and talk. Oh my God. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thanks again, everybody. And I'll see you on the other side tomorrow night on Hot Topics Talk Radio. Have a good night, everybody. Good night.